Hi there, it's Crypto Carlo back, and today I'm going to go over my Bitcoin analysis. I call it a prophecy, Bitcoin prophecies. I'm going to give you my view on Bitcoin and how it's going to perform in the next bull run. So let's go ahead and get into that analysis, and if you like it, go ahead and subscribe. So here we are, a unique analysis on Bitcoin. BTC prophecy, where the next bull run will take us. What's important? So important is all-time highs, guys. Where is Bitcoin the highest, and when does that occur? That's when you want to sell, right? Buy low, sell high. How do you do that? Selling on days where there are all-time highs, all right? And I'm a hodler, so you know that's what I want to sell some of my pot. The last bull run, and I'm looking at all-time highs at the last bull run, Bitcoin went from $1,200 to almost $20,000. 16 times greater, guys. 16 times. And that's amazing. I don't believe it goes that high this time, but we'll get into that. When you look at the doubling up on previous all-time highs, so the previous all-time high was the 1200. You can kind of see here it took 84 days to double, with 20 all-time highs for that doubling. Then go to 5,000, just about. It took 101 days with 17 all-time highs. The next doubling to 10,000 took 87 days with 22 all-time highs. So you can kind of see a pattern here, it taking about 90 days to double over the last bull run. All right. And then the last one was really short. I mean, 19 days, 11 all-time highs compared to the other ones, which is ridiculous because it went up as much as Bitcoin did in its whole history in that short amount of time. So why does that happen? Why was that last doubling shorter? And I believe it's because there are psychological price barriers that coincide with Bitcoin all-time highs. So when you're looking past Bitcoin runs, they hit highs like $10, $100, or $1,000, and then also in this last one, 10,000. And then the market goes crazy, all right, and the bull run ends. So if we look at the $10 hit $10, right? 6 days after it hit $10, and 6 all-time highs later, it tripled to $31. It went from $100 9 days later, 7 all-time highs. It hit $266, guys. It hit 1,000, so 1,000 was short. 3 days, 3 all-time highs later, and you're at your 1241. And then it hit 10,000, guys. And this cycle was longer, as was most of the stuff over the last bull run. You had 18 days, 11 all-time highs, and it practically doubled. And these are all marks or ends of bull runs. Now this one, people seem to forget. I don't know why they don't include it in their analysis. If you look at some of the other theories out there on Bitcoin, they put out this 4-year cycle. I don't necessarily believe in that, because if you do, you ignore this all-time high of 266, which was an all-time high for 200 days. And that's not an insignificant amount of time, guys. If you hold an all-time high for 200 days, I would say that this in itself was its own run and cycle. And none of those other theories really explain this all-time high. They just jump from here to 31 to 1241, which I think doesn't match with what's in the data. All right, so we're going to be predicting what the next bull run will bring. Here's what I call doubling events, guys. So based on the last bull run we just went over, there are clear doubling events. They followed roughly a 90-day pattern before we hit the $10,000, which is that psychological price barrier. Inside these doubling events, you have a cycle of hitting an all-time high then a 40 to 60 day lull in all-time highs, and then you have 30 to 45 days of a run to the next doubling event. So if we're breaking down these previous doublings, right? So this is the first one. This is the initial run, right? Hit an all-time high, continued for 9 days. After that, it took a lull for about a month and a half. You had a month where it went up and it ran and it doubled. Okay? Now this run continued for another 20 days. Just about. Then it took about 2 months off. Then 1 month until it doubled, guys. So right now, this is the 5,000, right? So now this last one is to 10,000. So this ended right at the last doubling. Then it took 40 days, almost a month and a half off, guys. Then you had a month and a half of a run up to 10,000. Then we broke that price barrier and the bull run came to an end. So if we use this pattern for doubling, we can estimate how long, once BTC hits an all-time high, that'll begin to double, and then assume that this pattern is going to hold until the next psychological barrier. Alright, so this is the prophecy, putting it all together. In the next run of Bitcoin, we will see 2 to 3 doubling events, with 2 happening at a relatively predictable and slow pace, and the third may or may not happen due to the introduction of a new psychological price barrier that will be broken and, quite frankly, drive people mad. So I'm a hodler, so I don't necessarily I'm not concerned when it's going to happen. I believe it's going to happen sometime in the next 1 to 2 years. Bitcoin is going to hit a new all-time high, and this process is going to start. So after it hits that all-time high, based on that 90-day average of doubling, you're going to have about 180 days before we see Bitcoin hit close to 80,000. 180, yeah, 80,000. So after 80,000 is hit, you know, it could run all the way up to 100,000. I think it's too big of a gap for that to happen, so I think it's could possibly run past 80,000, but it's going to stop, and we're going to have that lull for a month, maybe 2, and it's going to come back from there, and on that next run, we're going to hit the $100,000 mark, guys. That's when the market is going to go wild. So you're going to see Bitcoin jump crazy once that happens. So breaking the barrier and the end of the BTC Bull Run, end of the Bitcoin Bull Run. Yeah, so, you know, it's going to hit 100,000. Everyone is going to be going crazy. It's going to jump crazy amounts of money in a short amount of time. I don't know, quite frankly, where it's going to end. Based on the past breakouts, though, when you break that psychological barrier, I mean, it could go anywhere from 120,000 to 300,000. I do think the high end of that range is unlikely due to the lack of time to get there. More realistic range would probably be 120,000 to 160,000, and we may just hit another doubling event there like we did at the last end of the bull run. So that's my Bitcoin analysis, guys. This, I do think it's going to be relatively slow at the beginning, and I say relatively compared to this last jump right here. And these runs that we're talking about, we'll be able to tell when it's happening, and give a better, estimate as to when all this is going to happen. Because this 90 days is based off the last bull run. I've seen suggestions that it may take longer than last time to build up. Based on Bitcoin's history, I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. Because if you look at, let's go back up here to the top here. So if you look at these runs, like, it didn't take more time for it to go to, 260 and then all the way up to to 1241. The 90 days and the extension of the time to gather wealth happened over the last bull run. So these last two, like once you hit an all-time high and you're looking at previous doubling events, they were around 2 weeks for these last two. And then they went to about 90 days for this one. So I don't think that we see a large expansion in that. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. Overall, I think once we hit an all-time high, though, you got roughly, 250 days, guys, till it's over. I do think this is going to be relatively shorter than the last one, which I know is counter to what some other people are saying, but it's only because we are going to hit this $100,000 mark, guys, sooner than the time it took for the last bull run to go from 1,200 to 10,000, because we're going to go from 20,000 to 100,000, and it's going to happen relatively quickly. That's it, guys. If you like my videos, you like my predictions, go ahead and like the video and subscribe. This is my Bitcoin Bull Run prophecy. I call it prophecy. This is not financial advice. I would just putting my thoughts out there of what I think that Bitcoin is going to do in the next bull run, and this is where I have it, guys. So if you like it, please subscribe, and this is Crypto Carlo. I'll see you next time.